Hi everyone, Nelson Whiting here. I just want to make a quick video today to answer a question that I actually get a lot of. And the question is, that was submitted is, why am I never satisfied looking at pornography? Or masturbation can also be included in this. And first off, I'm sorry if you're dealing with this, if you're stuck in this situation. A lot of people are stuck in this same situation. That really it doesn't matter how much pornography they consume, they're never satisfied. Or maybe that day they are because they've already looked at pornography or masturbated, but then the next day they need to just consume more. And the way my clients have described this problem is they can just be looking at pornography and looking and looking and looking into the wee hours of the night, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And after they're totally disgusted with themselves and they're tired and they want to go to sleep, they're still hearing this voice or getting a feeling inside their head that's telling them, you need to go look at more. There's still something that you're missing out on. You need to go find some more pornography. And that's interesting. There are some clients who have been in tune enough or have noticed or come to the point where they understand that that voice is not actually saying you need more. It's speaking in I first person language. So it's actually saying I need to consume more. I need to look at something. There's something I'm still missing out on. And that's too bad because some people are mistaking this as their own voice, and it's not their own voice. It's something else, and this is what I want to talk about. But when they hear this voice, the problem is that when they listen to this voice, they're not satisfied. They know there's nothing that they're going to get more out of pornography. And when it's that time of the night, in the middle of the night, and you've looked and looked and looked, you already know there's nothing positive that you're getting out of pornography. And by that point, your dopamine levels have dropped below baseline, and it doesn't matter how much you consume, you're not going to be able to push that back up. So let me just offer my viewpoint on what I think is going on, my viewpoint on why this happens. And this is purely based on my training. And I've done over 1,500 sessions helping people with these kinds of issues, right? There are actually a lot of reasons why people feel like there's this bottomless pit in their soul that needs to be filled with whatever they can fill it with that they think will fix that. And sometimes that's food, sometimes it's video games or gambling or some form of addiction. In this case, obviously, we're talking about pornography and masturbation. Really, it can be a number of things. But when it comes to pornography, what I have found is one of the main culprits is curiosity. Okay? You have a normal level of curiosity, a healthy level, a good level of curiosity, a God-given level of curiosity that drives you and motivates you, makes you ambitious, and helps you want to consume things that help you grow and help you learn. But we also know that curiosity kills the cat. And what does that mean? Well, at some point, when you're engaging with curiosity, there's a jumping off point. And what I mean by a jumping off point is you start to fall instead of rise. You begin to descend instead of ascend in acting out on the expression or the feeling or the voice of curiosity. That jumping off point is where you actually make a conscious decision to act on curiosity in such a way that violates your own moral standards. Okay, you know that it's not right. You know that it's not true. You know it's not correct. You know it's not good for you. It's not healthy. It is bad. And yet you engage in that anyway, purposefully, willfully, deliberately. You make the decision to do that. And when you do that, you've hit the jumping off point, and now you begin to descend. You're basically stuck, right? You've begun to violate your own morality, and you're ignoring the voice in your head that says, don't do that. Okay, so that's the jumping off point with curiosity. So what happens once you've hit this jumping off point? You jump off, and by making the decision to go look at pornography out of curiosity, well, you already know what happens. You begin to feel unsatisfied. No matter how much that voice is telling you you need to go look at more, you're never going to be satisfied with that. It is telling you you need to consume more and more and more. And you know that you're never going to be satisfied with that. So I'm going to be totally honest with you about what I think is going on based on all of the men and women that I've helped to overcome pornography issues. And I work with any religious people or non-religious people. I have a Christian background. And I'm a believer in the gospel of Jesus Christ. But this isn't unique to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Every one of the oldest religions that we have on historical record believes in this idea of a spirit, that we are spirits walking around in bodies, right? And there are other spirits that don't have bodies, disembodied spirits, right? Maybe they're dead and they're passed on, but they're in a spirit form. Maybe they haven't gotten a body yet. Or maybe they were one of the third of the hosts of heaven that got sent down here without a body, and that was their punishment because they were rebellious and opposed this plan where we all have a body and we can figure things out in our bodies. So there are some of these spirits that are good and some of them are bad. And the bad ones tend to hang around us, attach to us, influence us in a way that is never looking out for our best interest. It's always working against what is right and true and correct for us, and these evil spirits are always looking out for their best self-interest. And if you believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, you know what I'm talking about, because you can go read the Bible, and the people who believe in this stuff, like me, we believe that these are actual historical accounts of Christ confronting and casting out evil spirits. And he did it probably every day of his mortal ministry, and probably continues to every day do this in his continuing ministry. But these evil spirits, they're real, they exist, they're not to be feared, they're not to be reveled in, they're not to get depressed about. And the biggest mistake we can make is pretending that they don't exist, ignoring them, and thus failing to discern them, because they're all around us and they are affecting us. They are to be struggled with, but hopefully only momentarily, and hopefully not for the rest of your life. By the time you learn the truth, you can get rid of them, because the knowledge will save you. Knowledge will set you free. So what you're hearing when you hear this voice that says, look at more pornography, is not your own voice. It's speaking to you in I, first person language, because what you're listening to is the spirit of curiosity. Okay, it's what's telling you, I need to go and consume more. I'm more curious. What else is there that I'm missing out on? And it's deceiving because it's in first person, right? But what you're dealing with is, it's kind of like the cartoon, right? Where you have an angel on one shoulder and a little devil on another shoulder, and both of them are whispering in your ears. In fact, in the scriptures, we find that this is exactly the case. You are a spiritual being, you have spiritual beings talking to you, and they're influencing you either towards good or towards bad. And it's not an audible voice that you're hearing with these physical ears, because they're talking to your spirit, and it might be some sort of telepathy thing that I am not going to pretend to understand. However, we do know that this is the struggle and this is the battle that is going on. And this is the literal spirit of curiosity. And when I say spirit, I mean evil spirit. And it's often in the form of a familiar spirit. And what I mean by that is it feels like family. It's so familiar to us that oftentimes we can mistake it as our own identity, or it's so familiar to us that it would actually pain us to part with it. Okay? And this is an adversarial spirit, the spirit of curiosity, and it attaches itself to us because we willfully entered into a state where we acted on a lie. And that's how they get us, right? So if I got my little clipboard out here, so I don't know if you can even see this in the video, but if you had a graph here, right, you have a normal level of curiosity, let's say. And this is the normal level. It takes you up to here. All right. If you begin to act in curiosity in a way that violates your own moral standards, you begin to believe a lie, that it's okay for you to be curious, to go in a direction that you actually know is already sinful, then at this point right here, something different happens. You've hit the highest degree of normal curiosity, but then you begin to believe a lie. And then what happens is the spirit of curiosity takes that degree of sensation, or the need for that, clear through the roof, okay? So you have this curiosity, normal level of curiosity, that's your own healthy normal level of curiosity. And here is where you start to use that curiosity to engage in sin. But then it's not your own level of curiosity that you're dealing with. Now what you're dealing with is curiosity's curiosity. All of this up here that you're now feeling is not even your own emotion, right? This is not even, you're feeling it, but it's not your own emotion. It's not you, and it never was you, right? Curiosity's curiosity is what is driving this insatiable drive for pornography. And it never was you. This isn't your identity. Your identity is normal, healthy level down here. In fact, your identity does have a level of of natural man desire to revel even in the appetites of the flesh that you know aren't good for you. And you can do that. And you also have raging hormones that are telling you to go and do that. But as soon as you believe a lie, now the spirit of curiosity that has told you that lie, when you heeded it, it takes control. And it feels like it's in control. And oftentimes it really is in control. And that's because you're believing a lie. And in the scriptures, this is called unbelief, right? So unbelief, when it says the people fell into unbelief, it doesn't mean that they didn't believe something. What it meant was that they believed a lie, right? And by believing a lie, they started to lose even the truth that they had. And they began to commit more and more sin. So, and you can actually test curiosity very simply. You can just ask yourself, how many naked people do I need to look at to know what a naked person looks like? 0, right? Right. And the spirit of curiosity would have you believe that you need to keep seeing more and more and more of this. And it doesn't matter how much you see, it's not going to be quenched in its thirst for whatever it is curious about. And that's not you, and it's going to mess with you. But that's not even your own emotion, right? And it's not necessarily hard to get rid of either. But you have to arrive at the correct level of truth, and the truth will set you free. If you have dealt with normal levels of natural man emotion that drive you to look at pornography, and you feel like you've dealt with those, but it's still a struggle for you, it's still a fight for you, maybe on a daily or a weekly or a monthly basis, if it's still a fight for you when that urge comes, then we look at what is the adversary trying to do to you, right? What's the adversarial attachment? And the spirit of curiosity, like I said, is not the only driver for this, but it's one of the, almost always, one of the main culprits for this. And it's actually simple to remove the adversary when you arrive at the correct truth. And everyone will arrive at that truth a little bit differently. And I think that the only reason I have such a high recovery rate, 95% recovery rate over 6 sessions or less, and very often it's far less than that, maybe in 1, sometimes maybe 2 or 3 sessions, actual hypnotherapy sessions. People can overcome that and be done with it, because I think it's because this is something we always check for when somebody else's emotions kind of gotten to the normal degree of what the emotion is that's driving them towards that. What's the next degree? Let's not ignore the fact that there are these evil spirits that are always trying to affect us. So let's always ask the question, what is the adversary doing to you? What adversarial attachments are making you feel like you're out of control? And I'll make another video about this too, this whole out of control feeling and how evil spirits can make you feel this way, feel like that you're not you and you're kind of pushed to the side. But the reality here is that your problem won't just go away, right? You've got to deal with this kind of stuff, and you have to deal with it head on, because you are the one that is allowing this stuff to stay by the exercise of your own free will. And that's why getting a blessing or saying prayers or behavioral stuff like getting an accountability partner or support groups or getting a flip phone or all these site blockers and all of that, that's why so often they fail. Because in spite of all of that, you are the one that is choosing to believe the lie of the voice that is only in your head. It's not in somebody else's head. They might be dealing with it too, but you're the one that's dealing with it. And you have to fully understand how that's working. And the reality is, if you keep curiosity around, it's just going to keep sapping your energy, your time, your money, and it's going to leave you just the way the devil likes to leave you, because the spirit of curiosity is just one of the minions of the adversary, and the bottom of that slippery slope is death. That's where he wants you to go with this. But it's not going to help you. It's going to ruin your relationships with yourself, with your family. You've lost confidence, basically, even your relationship with God. I mean, that number one is going to be felt, right? And it often leads to other problems for men, like erectile dysfunction, right? But once you liberate yourself from the influences of these evil spirits or attachments like curiosity, you might find that, hey, you're freed up to think of a lot more solutions to your problems. And you might find that when you get rid of that, not only do you have more energy to solve those problems, other things might just naturally fall into place, like you're sleeping better, or you have more motivation to get up in the morning, or to go work out, or you're having better intimacy with your spouse, any of that kind of stuff. But all of that can be a result simply of getting rid of the insatiable spirit of curiosity.